Okay. We are live on YouTube. It's going to be one of those evenings. So, welcome, everyone. Michelle, you just look like you just got back from the beach.
I have. I took little man out on a bike ride. He's got a new little bike. So we went out and yes, we had a nice time in the sun.
I bet he loves his bike. Is this his electric bike or is this his?
No, he's got he learned to pedal on his little bike
a while ago.
Yeah, we haven't had time to take him out.
I accidentally rode over his bike in the van. We were parked up about a year ago because we got him. He has an electric quad bike. He
rode over his bike. I bet you were popular.
Yeah. There was someone coming down a lane, and we were in Monchique in Portugal, just pulled in, and I had to move, but it was just out of sight, and unfortunately, it had a bent wheel and a bent. Bent pedal. So he wanted a new one, so we made that happen for him.
Yeah. So he's loving it at the moment. He's only just got it last strong, so he's off.
I bet he loves it. Right, we're just going to do a little sound check because people are just starting to come on. Hi, Laura. So if we could do a little sound check before we start, that would be amazing. Just seeing if everybody can hear us.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, people are jumping on now. They just have to find the link.
Welcome.
Good evening, Adina. Good evening, Gavin. Gav, could you do me a favor? Could you just let us know if you can hear? You can probably hear me. Could you just let us know if you can hear Josh and Michelle, please?
Hello.
Good day to you, brother, sister.
Sending love and light.
Sound is awesome. You guys rock. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Excellent. Okay, people are coming on, so that is wonderful. So, how are you both before we start? How is your magnificently virtuous world?
Amazing. We have got sun and thunderstorms at night, which is incredible to watch over the beach. And we're packing up for our little journey. We're going back in the van on Wednesday. So we're
start looking again because we decided to stay with these sides of the water. And as we progress into this chat, we'll explain why. But we are staying ever present and continuing to support many people on their journey and help many people heal. So it's always wonderful to hear the healing stories every single day. And to get new people, we help very young children as well. And
anything you can share with us? Obviously, I appreciate some of it will be confidential, but anything you would be?
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to go into specific names and things like that, but children as young as 2 who have serious problems, who have no bodily function, finding function, and people as old as 86 who cannot function and their bodies are failing, and bringing their bodies back into health is what we're supporting to do. And then in between all of that, everybody's finding pure balance and pure health and restoring years and years of toxins that have built up, creating chronic disease. So it is a wonderful...
Yeah, and this is something we're talking about, maybe doing another program on, isn't it? Health and breaking it down for people, because it's... I messaged Josh during the week and I was like, I'm so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. Yeah. Well, I suppose it's like anything else. Like I know with myself, the healing journey, which is obviously what we're all on, is to go from kind of into this wholeness. Yeah. But for some reason, other areas of my life I've gone first with, whereas the food I feel like it's like, not my nemesis, but like the next step in the next step on the path.
Yeah, if you imagine you're the void, and then you build up all these layers of an onion, and then you become this onion, and you need to take these layers off to find that true self, whether it's within food, the accumulation of what we've experienced through our life has built up a habitual nature to do with food. So all we need to do is just slowly take it apart. And if we do jump, then we tend to fall. So we have to do it slow and steady, and then we can win the race instead of having these setbacks.
I think what I've been finding amazing recently is like watching Little X. He hasn't got any of those programs with
course.
food, you know, because
Yeah.
he's never experienced that that greed, or so like he will have as much as he needs, and then he'll just leave what he doesn't, go back to it when, you know, he's very balanced with his, and very controlled. Like you watch other children and they'll be like, you know, quite greedy with their snacks or treats and stuff, but he's so you know, and he's yeah, and he gives gratitude to his food, he prays and sings to it, and you know, he's so like, you know, well balanced around his food that he doesn't have any of those preconceived problems or dilemmas that, you know, we have been brought up in the Western world and stuff. So it's really interesting to see that.
And now he's nearly 5-ish coming up. We were having a conversation about cooked food, and we were giving him something cooked every 4 days, but he was maintaining raw throughout the day. And we spoke to him and explained to him what cooked food does to his body and his awareness, and he chose to not have it anymore. He's fully raw now, and he does like so much juicing. He helps with juicing. He loves his little juices, and it's really incredible to see that he gets no cravings. Like we say, oh, what do you fancy for supper or anything, and he's got no cravings for anything. He's like, oh, what have we got here, Mum? You know, yeah. So it's incredible to see that type of journey from such a young. And he eats being, a lot of fruit. So,
beautiful.
You know,
and he's practicing the virtue, isn't he? Because obviously that's why we're here. We've just been waiting for people to come on, but we've got a good number of people here. But he's already, the virtues are instilled in him at 5 or 4.
Yeah, he knows them all. He knows all of his chakras and which ones they're related to. And he's able to separate his awareness from thought and ego, and have a great perception in presence.
Wow.
He may be, you know, still, he'll say, why does my ego make me shy? You know, why do I feel shy when I meet new people? And you explain it, but again, those things there, I feel like as he progresses to maybe 7 and 8, because we don't meet too many people because we're abroad or in Spain, and you know, we haven't decided where we want to be, so we haven't fully learned the language or taught him fully, so he gets by. But when we do decide where we're going to be, we will teach him it, and I'm sure that he'll be different. But when he meets people, it takes a couple of hours.
It's funny because he'll go past people on his bike and say hola to everyone, but when it comes to like the face-to-face, you know, it's partly age and stuff.
He
but
just smiles, and
and he'll ask questions about that. But all in all, he's very up on, you know, because he hears us talking all day, so it is quite a different upbringing for him than when you watch children in the supermarket, say, and how
he's
they
very
react
controlled over it. You know, he will not let it creep in. He'll tell you what his ego is trying to do, but it won't dominate him in any way. He'll make sure he's got a lid on it. So he's
I think there has to be a Virtues for Kids program, I think, in there somewhere. And I think it's because they just get it, you know, they'll just get it at that age, and they'll integrate it. And
make sure you tell your children, if they're eating meat, that where the meat comes from, and allow them to make the decision. You don't hide it in a sausage or hide it in something else. So they're aware, because I'm sure all children do not want to harm any type of sentient life. Give them the chance.
So welcome everyone. We've just been waiting for people to jump on, and we've got a good amount of people with us. So good evening and welcome to the 3rd in the Virtues series. We've obviously had our welcome, this is the 4th actually. We've had our welcome, and then we've obviously gone through patience, and we've gone through charity. And tonight we are going to be talking about diligence. And I suppose just to remind everybody, what we are doing is we have put together, or we're putting together, a program around the virtues. You know, Josh will tell you, Michelle will tell you that these are like almost like the cornerstone, the building blocks that we have to integrate and live by to enable us to open our energy centers. And we have put together this program because we really want, obviously, as many people to start to live by this and see the potential of really integrating this gnosis into your lives and where it takes you. So we do have a waiting list. If people want to join it, I'll put the link in the comments. But can you just break down for us? I think I'll start with Josh and then I'll come to Michelle with her numerology genius. But Josh, can you kind of describe what is diligence, first of all?
In a simple way, it would be to make sure that one is taking the necessary steps that they need to do to create the environment that they need to grow into or want to exist into, or to create and fulfill the desires they have.
So in creating the environment they want.
Yes, and then second to that, when you go through to the spiritual side, is to make sure that you are taking every necessary steps that you need to do to develop yourself spiritually. It all correlates to the levels of awareness that you're at. So what one perceives, then you must take diligent action to be as you can perceive. So
it's not, because I would think of diligence as being diligent in everyday tasks, so making sure you get things finished on time. Does it mean that as well? But you're saying
that's definitely one aspect of it. But as
right.
Your consciousness grows and as your consciousness perceives higher, then you must step up the levels of diligence in every single aspect of your awareness. So if you've got a wonderful, huge awareness, the reason why it has expanded is because of the diligent nature that you've taken to expand your awareness. Your diligence with food, for one. Your diligence with travel. If we're coming up to this COVID vaccine and somebody wants to be in an environment that they're in, but they're sitting back and waiting for other people to do it, there would be a lack of diligence on their behalf, which then they would be in a situation where they haven't manifested the land, the nature, the sun, which they wish to be in. And there'll be a point where they can't travel without a vaccine. So you need a certain level of diligence and awareness to proceed past them. And as with food and diet and things like this, it's the level of diligence and the actions that you take to get yourself in a preparation state to be able to prepare the things you need to create the body that you wish or the environment, etc.
So with power comes responsibility, is basically what you're saying. So the more you learn, it's your responsibility then to be diligent and apply the gnosis and the knowledge that you're learning.
Yeah. Lack of diligence, you'll feel the sin.
You'll feel
the sin. You'll feel the reverberation within you, and you'll manifest something that will obviously come into fruition that will show you that the lack of diligence was needed. The diligence was needed.
So what you're saying is, if you know something but you don't apply it, you'll get almost like the universe giving you a lesson to say, excuse me, you're not
This
applying.
is where ignorance is bliss come into being, because ignorance is bliss for those that want to stay as they are. But once you know, then your awareness has grown, thus your life will be a teacher to you. So you must not let it be the teacher. You must change, grow, and be the creator of your life.
Wow, that's scary. But if you think about how much we're all growing at such a rapid rate at the moment, you've really got to apply what you know.
Absolutely.
How would you describe it, Michelle?
I was going to do it through the numerology. Would you like me to bring that in now? Because I've got a few things to
okay. Well, let's unpack this a little bit more, I think, before we go there, because I feel like there's a lot of people out in the audience maybe going, oh my goodness. So could you give me an example? Because so the universe has, because I think this is a really interesting concept, the fact that as we grow, it's our responsibility then to impact it, to essentially, what's the word I'm looking for, to make sure that we are integrating our knowledge.
Yeah. Otherwise, your awareness will close itself and you'll go back to the original state. So when you vibrate at a certain level, we all know what it's like to have an expansion, have a download, or have something that gives you progression. It's a wonderful feeling. It's a freeing of energy because of the diligence and the nature of the virtues. So as you free the energy centers, you vibrate, but then you become level again. So it's a continual progression that's needed until you've opened up the heart space. Then you are love. So that is a continual vibration that is one in union, atonement. So
I think as well with the steps, you have to make sure that you're ready to take the next step. So like you've got to be prepared to take the righteous path and continue with that and your truth, because I feel like a lot of people that are on this journey, they've got so much information that they want to run with it, and it's very important to take a step back and think, right, which step is it that's most important for me at this time?
It needs to be integrated into your awareness rather than just information, because information gets scattered, and then that creates the
block,
the mind that is continually running from left to believing it's going right, but it's just bouncing itself between the thought realm, and you'll never actually find an expression for it. So you are in thought, which is continually living in the dream within a dream.
So I suppose a top tip for people listening then would be, bearing in mind we're literally in information overload, aren't we? I think at the moment. So it's working out what would be the key next step, and then integrating that and doing that well.
Absolutely. And never running before you can walk. So you just have to once you learn something,
walk your talk.
Seek what you want to change. Because if you just scatter the internet is designed in such a way, because it's a part of consciousness, it's a part of awareness. So there are things there that's going to pull your mind into, which is going to create vibrations of fear, because you're doing the wrong thing. You're searching outside of yourself for something which is innately within you. There is no thing that exists external to you that's going to bring any empowerment. And this is the reason why we need to direct it to ourselves to build up this temple, because this is the only thing that you can do for yourself. And
this is the trap in itself, isn't it? That we've been taught all our phones, all our technology, everything takes us outside of ourselves rather than...
You can free yourself easier if you are tuned to the virtues, but if you get lost, you will find yourself going into a wonderful rabbit hole that takes many, many years to get out. Or you may build your intellect so much that your ego becomes so powerful that it's very hard to free.
I think once you know the righteous path as well, you've got to continue that in that direction, because like if you're on this journey, you know the foods that are right and wrong to eat. If you eat, we've recently put out a post on Instagram of like, do you want life or death? And everyone knows what's the right food to eat, but taking that transition to get there has to be slow. You can't just go all in, otherwise you will have all of this candida and you will have
one thing at a
problems.
time.
You have to make a little plan of action almost, of like, right, I'm going to take out this amount first and then add in this and then continue to build. And that's the building blocks that Aloise, you were talking about earlier. It's the building blocks for the progression and the transition.
Because if you don't truly know, then the information you seek is not serving you. So if you seek a change, then as you find information, you must apply the information to then have a knowing rather than a belief. Because you find many people talking about ideas that they haven't actually done. So it hasn't been a part of their experience. Yeah. So then you need to just slowly adjust or go on the experience yourself, take out certain food, see how you feel. If your vibration goes higher, for example, then you know that you feel better, you stop getting disease, you start feeling healthier. And then you may add something back in that you previously had, which will make you feel very terrible. And then you continually grow like this. I can honestly say that there's nothing obviously more high vibrational than living fruits. Fruits bear the seed, and the logical reasoning behind that is without the seed, you can't continue life. Anything underground is for the ground, and for animals that exist underground and the micro life and the ecosystem that's there. Anything above ground that drops it effortlessly is your meat, it's your food, it's the meat.
So for our listeners though, to be diligent, to apply diligence as a virtue in their life, it's about them coming back into themselves and working out what is the key next step for their growth. Yeah. Because obviously, like you said, there's so many options out there, and obviously food, what you're suggesting is food is the kind of the linchpin of it all.
If you think about the food, where your end goal is, you want to be growing it yourself, and that is to be diligent, isn't it? To take the seed, plant it yourself, nurture it, give your energy to it, and and when it's fruitful, you reap the benefits of that energetic balance that you've put into the soil, and you've nurtured it and you've loved it from the beginning. But to get there might take, you know, a while
Just
for you
steps.
to, you know, you first of all you go to the supermarkets, then you think, right, I don't want all of this plastic and this energy put through my food. Then you go to local farmers or the markets, and then it'll gradually be that progression. And then you look for land, and you might put something in your little greenhouse at the back, and it will continue to snowball like that. And that's your end goal.
So, because I think that's where, you know, myself included, people get overwhelmed because it's like, you know where you want to be, but it feels such a big effort to get there. So really what you're saying is constant, like say, for example, you're wanting to give up sugar, or you're wanting to give up alcohol, or you're wanting to give up coffee, for example. Like,
learn why sugar's bad for you. That's the
right.
first step. Spend, for me when I was younger, sugar,
But focus on one thing, be
40
diligent.
hours,
Yeah.
50 hours research on sugar alone.
Your main thing, isn't it? Like, say sugar was your main area that you wanted to like work with because it's a problem for you and you can't seem to get around it because of the cravings and whatnot.
Yeah.
What Josh is saying, like if you learn what it does to the body and how it reacts, and what its, you know, what its problem is within you and what it causes,
You just don't want it anymore.
it changes your thought process to think, oh, actually it gives you that negative feeling rather than that positive feeling.
And this is where the virtues come in, because the virtues are about stopping the thought forms and the demons pop up that causes the unhappiness within ourselves. So if we want to break the boundaries past the thought forms and the unhappiness that we feel, if we're feeling unhappy, diligence is one of the key things that we need to do to take the necessary steps to not allow these thought forms to manifest. Because if you do know sugar is bad for you, yet you still choose to eat it, every time you eat it, you will have a thought form.
Right. Okay.
And that is the demon that pops up.
Right.
And unless you gain control of that, because that demon there is a level of your awareness that's trying to say, you know better, so I'm going to nag at you. So this is.
And if I think about my own journey, you know, someone who used to drink, smoke, do drugs, eat, like I'm still eating sugar. Well, I've stopped eating sugar, but only just coffee. You know, the way I did that was by shifting my consciousness around them. I remember thinking, obviously, alcohol, going into investigating how obviously alcohol and how that alcohol, yeah. And then obviously with smoking, that was pretty obvious why you needed to give that up. But I had to get to a certain stage where I just didn't want it anymore.
Yeah.
And then coffee obviously blocks your nadi, your energy channels. And as soon as I found that out, I didn't want it anymore.
Yeah, but that's your awareness. See, your awareness has now found something you've seeked, and the information has been presented to you because it was supposed to. But now you're presented with a choice. That's the choice that we all make, whether we want to arise in consciousness or we want to lower. Now, there's so much disinformation out there right now, you know, that you're told within the vegan community that beans, legumes, all these things are wonderful. They're great sources of protein. Rather than take other people's information, which is even warned within the Bible about spreaders of hearsay and untruths, you look at the source of the word. You look at the protein and you see what protein is within the body and how it functions. And then you see that word, or what that is it the fuel that you need, and what does it cause?
Because I think this is what's happening, isn't it? A lot of people are getting switched on to being vegetarian and vegan. But of course, they're not, like you said, they're not being diligent and doing their research around how and why and how it impacts the body. And of course, this is where all these vegan products are coming in, the fake meat.
Terrible.
And it's
the chemicals, the chemicals themselves are having such a bad effect on the being's body, and everyone said, oh, vegan, you know, it's bad because it's making me feel like this and it's doing this to me and it's making my skin like this and that. But it's because they're not having the living foods. They're having the pre-packed, the
even just whole foods. You feel absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Just to take out all the toxins, anything that is done for you. That's the key. You must take care of yourself. If you're looking outside of yourself for someone to take care of you, it's not going to happen in this world. This is duality. The whole experience here is to gain control over ourselves and to make sure we're in the position diligently to then get ourselves in the capacity to do so.
And can you just speak to that for a little bit? Because I think that's a really interesting topic. So the whole, you just said about duality, the whole reason we're here is to gain control over ourselves. Can you just unpack that? Because I think not everyone will have grasped that.
Yeah. The reason for the existence on this plane is to expand our awareness and to grow. We've been born with no expectations of any experience, no name, no identification with anything. And this is what it means. I will go back to this, to be born again. We are here and we've accumulated a system of things, objects, desires, food, TV, media, and all these things here. We must unpack ourselves back to the state that is pure. So rather than continually add things like the information,
Enlightenment.
we actually need to remove these things away from us to be in a state that we take no judgment.
So like what Michelle was saying about little X is he doesn't have that stuff.
Yeah, so you don't have any of the attachments and the desires of Babylon, and that then is to be born again. So we take the necessary actions in our life to see that the dual nature here is a complete choice once one becomes aware of it. It's a complete trap for your awareness until you become aware, which is why we seek certain information. We observe, we test, we repeat through our life experiences. But if it's not in our experience, then everything that we're doing is actually a dream state from other people's experiences, and that will bring us suffering in itself. So each thing that comes to our awareness, we should take that apart and have an experience of it to then overcome that within the field of our awareness, to expand ourselves and break the boundaries of the programming we have. And if you want to put it simpler, then please.
Yeah. So to be
give us an example.
So to be trusted with magic or divine magic, that we are magical, energetic beings. Mm-hmm. We will not be trusted with magic if we are still doing all of these wrongs. So to bring balance back to the duality and be in the center and live from the heart space is where we're going to truly connect and rise through the spine up to the crown chakra and be trusted with our magic and the powers that we have truly been gifted with. We can't actually access any of that part of, when they say about the brain and how much percent we can use, this won't be able to be accessed if we're still coming from this lower dense state of matter and material and lust and all of these sins that we're finding that are attaching to us. We won't be able to be trusted with that. So we really need to work on those small steps to climb that ladder and be at one and at peace and balance to really gain all of that control.
So these are like little spiritual tests, but they unlock the chakras and they unlock the energy centers and they unlock our awareness.
Curiosity killed the cat. And this is what we are. We're curious by nature. And if we didn't go through this experience, this is why the nature of the matrix right now is splitting the paradigm for the meek, the kind, the gentle, the ones that have done the work to inherit the earth again. If we told everybody that media is fake and everything's been turned against you, your whole world was shifted, do you think that the people that aren't ready would be able to not try to dominate in a society, would not try to take over, would not try to find a way to gain? So this thing's happening right now because the ones that truly live in fear and are not ready, there's going to be some serious things coming on for the next 6 years to do with this COVID that will push people a certain way. And the only ones that have truly done the work and do not live in any type of fear and have removed all of these programmings via the virtue system and have the eyes to truly see, then
be guided a different direction.
The ones that are truly ready will have the earth. You would not be able to integrate these two levels of awarenesses or the multiple stages of awarenesses to free land here without this system.
And how are because obviously in the program, we're going to be going into more detail around being diligent in different areas of your life, aren't we? Because I think this is the framework. So can you explain why the virtues are so important that people live that way?
You think even with people's children, unless you're diligent and you're present and you're in a standing of the system of virtues, you will find that they won't be as you would love them to be. So even the nature of the virtues is a massive play in every aspect of your life, from your work to your food to practicing your spirituality. If somebody wants to do yoga, a lot of people say, I'd love to do it, but yet you can start with 5 minutes a day. And that 5 minutes.
So it's being diligent in, so this is what we'll be going into more detail, isn't it? Around diligent in our food, diligent in our practices, diligent with our family, with our friends, like breaking it down for people so they can really apply it.
And how the responses would be if you did not apply it when you knew better as well. So it also allows you to see through the veil of just physicality and see the energy work behind the interactions through the virtues. The virtues are a key system. They are how the universe operates through energy, blinded by physicality in our bodies and the nature of our life. We lose track of energy because we're constantly objectively looking for things.
And they say, don't they? We learn the hard way. And a lot of people say, oh, I always learn the hard way. This is kind of the universe, what it's saying or doing. It's kind of giving us this pain body experience to help us learn.
But I think once you can observe that feeling, like, so the observer of, so if, for instance, if you did have a situation where you were on the diligent side, say for sloth, and you recognize that and you observe that and you made that change for future, that's then saying, right, that lesson that the universe taught me in that situation, I took that and I actually used that to empower myself and to transcend that feeling and that emotion. And you went through that, and only you can go through those steps. So you can't ask someone, oh, how did it feel when you were sloth or diligent? You have to walk through that, and you have to take those necessary steps that we were talking about before to really embody the virtuous system.
It quiets the mind.
And that's something that we do in our Dharma community. It's like, well, did you get the lesson? What was the lesson? What would you do differently? And like, we do that around our dinner table as well with
that's wonderful.
The kids. It's like, well, okay, this happened. Oh, that's fine. But what did you learn?
It's kind of got to be you've got to let go of that. You can't always feel like it's a hardship or like, oh, sorry for me. You've got to think, right, that happened to me for a reason. Now I'm going to move forward from that and like really be present with that, letting go of that situation and bringing yourself back to presence again. And
the reason why it happens is because of the virtues. If you didn't act in the way of the virtuous side of it, and you reacted or acted upon the simple nature of things, you will find yourself being, I would say, mindful, a full mind, full of these demons that have popped up. And the only way to destroy them and quiet the mind down is to take the necessary steps that you need across the whole virtue system. If you take action, an event may happen and you may have, you weren't diligent, for example, and you were late and you missed a job, for example, you lost your job. It's okay, but you have to accept the fact that you did that and know that in the future, as something arises, if you get to a place on time and you are taking the necessary steps it needs to be there, then this would never happen.
And this is why this program, and I think the community that we're going to do as well, is going to be so impactful for people, because what I love about our Dharma community is people will share what's like, we're doing shadow work at the moment, and people are sharing their shadow work examples. And of course, other people are getting breakthroughs through reading other person's shadow work. So that's why kind of by doing this as a collective in the community as virtuous light living, virtuous X life, and it will be so powerful for people, myself included. I can't wait. Living it, really living it.
it's a really difficult thing to explain. As one takes the steps, they will actually progressively begin to expand their awareness to such a point that they will know the workings of the universe. And that's really the secret behind everything. It starts off slow and steady, and really as the progression happens, your eyes will become so wide and your consciousness will be so expanded that the nature of everything and how everything works is all correlated back to yourself with the actions that you take. Every interaction you have, whether it's with animal life, plant life, human life, your life, it all correlates down to the system. And what we want to do is to be able to give everybody the eyes to see this, because you cannot express this, you cannot put it into words, you can try to describe it. But when you know actions and reactions are down to you, and the way that you hold yourself up is so a fundamental way to learn in magic itself, controlling and creating your own life.
Even that is like completely mind-blowing, but so incredible. Like if you can grasp that every action has a reaction, that will change your life.
Of course. But to be able to see it is to know it rather than to believe it. So without taking virtues or trying to understand the work, then you'll be stuck in a belief, and the belief is not going to give you any knowing. It's not going to expand your awareness. It's going to be another thought form of what if and maybe why do things happen to me. You need to know why things are happening to you, and you need to be strong enough to take the next level. If you're not in control of yourself, who is? What is?
100% responsibility.
Yeah, you've got to walk the true righteous path, haven't you? It's like a journey for the self.
As you are becoming
yourself.
As you're becoming aware, as you start to progress with the food journey, just for an example, to make the change into the foods that you've been eating, it's a lot of work, and you need to then find the space and time to create what you wish to eat at that time, which, again, it would lead you to a space of the truth, because the raw fruit in itself is the most convenient food. A huge watermelon, cut up, is already done. It's got its own bowl, and you eat this. And this is the highest nutrition. But to be able to get yourself back to that space, it's a long journey, because people have so much programming that it will always keep coming back to you that you wish to go back into this.
Well, we've gone so far away from it, haven't we? The way we live.
That's the matrix and the meat, when that guy wants to go back to have his steak. This is what's happening. But this is why we do it slow, because we take those small necessary steps and we learn as we grow, and we need to get the information, acquire the knowledge, and then take the action to feel what it does to us and our awareness.
And we're going to do that as a collective, don't we? To support people as they do it.
The more energy that's included, the better the field will be.
Yeah, of course. Wow, powerful with people.
Yeah, power with
together. And share with us about the numerology, Michelle.
Yeah. So today we've got number 68, 6 and 8. So let's see if you can see this.
Yeah, can see that.
So we've got the 6 and the 8 is the atomic numbers. I was going to go through with you quickly. First of all, is oxygen and carbon.
Okay.
So they're like inspire and expire. So the breath work that we're doing at the moment with all our beautiful beings on Patreon has a massive effect on those two numbers, the 6 and the 8. And the 6 itself is the man or the beast. So we've got the square here that we spoke about, the other strong, when we were in the cube and the square, and then the star. So you make a choice. It's either the head or the heart that you go with. And the F is like the form, the matter. So it governs the material world, the 6. And nature expresses itself through the beauty and the balance of the vibration of number 6. You see it in like the beehives and the turtle shells and the crystal like snowflakes. You see it expressed all throughout nature, and it's the love number, the beauty and love number. So we got Venus on day 6, the Friday, and it's when God created man on the Friday, the 6th day. And the 8 again that we spoke about before is our climbing number, like the ladder, the Jacob's ladder, and the Kundalini rising up the spine.
It all correlates back to the true nature of the word there. So it would always relate to the highest expression of diligence, which would go back to the energy word.
Okay.
The only true nature of our existence is to go back to this energy form. So like to be diligent in the word, you can see the Di, which is the balance.
Yeah.
Di is the form and consciousness with L. So it's balance, the L, which is the circle, with consciousness, and G being the 7, which is the projection of the Taurus field we have here. And this, the ENCE is an once. Okay, you have a preferal once, you have radiance, and all of these onces, you'll see that actually means like a set frequency on vibration together. There's no necessary need to break this down. This is a compact word itself. So if you see it's balance your L with consciousness and the 7 vibrations, basically the 7 forms. So that's what it means.
When you think of again the atomic structure and the atomic numbers, the 6 and the 8, oxygen and carbon, we breathe the oxygen, and the plants and the trees breathe out the oxygen. So we're kind of the opposite. So the more that we plant and the more that we be diligent with that, the better our air quality is going to be, and the reciprocation between us and the plants and the trees and the nature, we're going to have abundance. And this is where we've gone wrong. Everyone's cutting down the trees to make space for the animals that they're going to then kill and eat. And this is not the way forward. All of the rivers and the natural streams are all coming to an end because of the trees being cut down. And
but it's seen.
It's observed, and we are now moving to that space where we're going to be diligent, and we're going to plant, and we're going to move to this new earth of where we can all create this abundance together. And this is the cycle of the breath and the cycle of the plant life's breath. And we're moving from that old space where we're coming from the material world and the form, which is the choice again, the head or the heart, and we're moving into that synchronicity where we're bringing this together. And this is through the steps of the virtues, and which is where we're going to be trusted with the true magic when it comes in.
You will only become a true wizard with true mastery over all of these elements. You will only be trusted by someone who has the perception once these things have been mastered. When you master this energy, it's very easily to see through someone's identity, see through someone's ego. And as someone in a position to be this, they would not speak it, they would just sit still and observe. So when you vibrate like this, it's very different, and you may not find many beings that do. But it truly, you cannot be lied to, you cannot be deceived, and your life will be created by you rather than by something else.
I wanted to just read a little verse from the Bible, if that's all right, because what it is, it was really interesting, because when I found it's actually about diligence. So it's number, it's Proverbs 6, and it's verse 6-8. So it was quite cool how it fits in with the diligence. So obviously it's another key. So it's, go to the ant, O sluggard, observe her ways and be wise. With having no chief, officer or ruler, prepares her food in the summer and gathers her provisions in the harvest. So the sloth, the sluggard, has got to change your ways and be like the ant. The ant's always working as a community to build and function in the proper way, and it's being diligent. And it all fits in with the keys to the numerology as well, through the Bible verses, through everything that's synchronized in life. And you can see it through numbers, words, energies, everything that's there is there for you as a key.
Why do people go to work? Why do they have a job? Why does job in Hebrew mean persecution, which is the language that the Bible was written in originally? Why? And people
but again, I suppose we should say to people, like, if you are transitioning out of that, it's being diligent and implementing one step at a time.
Yes, because you'll never free yourself out. You'll
Very
never
much
free
so.
yourself out. You'll be swimming too deep.
Because I think that's the thing, isn't it? People can get overwhelmed with, oh, I want to be here, but I'm here. How do I go from A to B?
Because you're seeking too much information and you're not applying the things which you know. So you've built up an awareness or an intellectual mind now that's become so powerful. The ego is working against you, and you haven't trained your dragon to a certain level to be able to work for you. So you need to stop yourself, and you need to start taking one step at a time, and just with one action and one progression, you will find happiness. And then you continue to do so, and you just free yourself.
It'll create like a little ripple effect in your whole world. Like we were speaking about the magnetism, the reciprocation of energy. It will
close, it opens.
Yeah, it just change your world, and then the direction and open another door, and someone else will walk in, or something else will happen to you that will reciprocate, and then you move on. And it continues as a ladder effect, or a climb.
Jacob's ladder. This is the
L adder. You add to L, and you must L earn.
So it's infinitely intelligent, isn't it? It's kind of giving you feedback. It's measuring you. It's sort of seeing, all the time. It's kind of seeing, and then whether the doors open for the next step.
Testing your virtues, Eloise.
It really feels like it.
It's the testament, and this is the true testament. It's testing the mind, and this is truly what.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, this is what it is. This is
exactly. That's so nice when you start to see things like.
Yeah, it's so integrated, and as you expand, the only source you get to the point is that all-seeing eye, which is yourself, and you realize that you've projected all of this as a part of an experience of being separate from the oneness. So being separate from the oneness, you feel pain body, you feel mind expression, you feel all of these material pain. And as you climb the ladder, you start to free yourself from the pain, you start to free yourself from the torment of the mind, torn mind, the two minds, the split duality, the bipolarism. And everybody has bipolar. They have two voices until they free themselves. And
the unity, you want to become like one with everything, the universe, all the other beings, all of nature. You can't eat meat and say that I'm unified with
animals.
Nature, because that's just not. It's just not.
But most people are in ignorance about it, aren't they? Yeah. Said ignorance is bliss, because people don't, understand the implications of it.
Of energy. It's all energy. Like if you just do a little bit of research on magnetism and just really try and get your head around that, then that will snowball as well. That's a really good one to delve into a little bit, because as soon as you understand magnetism, your world again will shift.
Oh, it's the G net.
It is the big key.
Magnetic IC. It's the mother G net IC. That's exactly what it is. This
what
is
you put what you put out, you get back.
The 100%. Magnetic field is what creates everything in existence, and the only thing that keeps it going is energy, positive and negative. Positive and negative, but life sits on the neutral plane. You are life, so you must always balance yourself in that field. Right now, this is why zero is spelt with a Z. This is the way, the longitudinal, latitudinal waves of creation, A to Z, the Z ion, the holy place. The whole is a whole, and you can become whole to find the whole, which is holy.
But because most of the being's energy is on the side of the AL, the matter side, we need to bring it right back. And this is why we're pulling it back in this direction to the EL, the spiritual side, because beings are so far over here on the left side that we need to pull it back and become the center and the balance and neutral position.
And can you explain what the AL and the EL mean, please?
Yeah, so even the word center, you see, it's spelled enter. Okay, this is where you would enter yourself in the black hole, the void of yourself. The AL and the EL, two sides of a torus. A redshift, masculine. So we would say red. In the word red, you see RED, which is the rightfully established form. This is form samsara. If you stay on the redshift of the alpha wave, separate from the other, which is what we are until we've become magnetized, we rightfully establish our form, recycling the samsara. EL is the spiritual nature. It's the etherical L. This could also be correlated with the Z wave. Okay, this is blue shift. This is feminine. This would be the divine feminine that we're all seeking. Okay, now how we would find that in a physical nature is the earth. Hence the earth is called Mother Earth, and mother is spelled M, other. M is the middle letter in the alphabet, the 13th secret. So the mother is the M, other, that we need to do to balance ourselves physically. And this here is the spiritual mind if it's connected to ourselves. So this is spirit, and this is matter. But if you study magnetism, you'll see that there's a constant reciprocation between these two energies.
Mm-hmm.
And when they touch, or they become at such a close proximity, they create light. Okay. Now that is called dipolarism, the dipole. That's the perfect balance, DI. And then all life expands. You are energy. So what you need to do is become a magnetic being. This is magic. And once you do, you free yourselves from all of the nature of the pain. Your body becomes a fully reciprocating field. You have no disease, you have no sickness, and life will then open up to the next stage for you. And things like that can't really be expressed. People wouldn't believe what happens when you are of that nature, but that could be also explained by having a constant Kundalini activation. K that underlines the I is the Kundalini. K represents the balance between.
So can you have the Kundalini activation, but you're not at the 144,000?
Not the
people
same.
do have like continuous Kundalini, but they're not at that level.
No, they would have it through forcing it, which makes it an experience, but sometimes very psychotic. Sometimes people get trapped energies, they twitch, they have serious problems for many years. If you imagine that your body is a battery, well, it's not, it's a magnetic field. But what you need to do is actually create something which is perpetual motion inside of yourself, rather than something that degrades over time and is acidic by nature, redshift, alpha wave. You need to bring balance, but you bring balance by taking your physical actions and moving them in the righteous way through the virtue system. So not only will the virtues free your mind, it will also generate a body that is capable of holding a magnetic charge, which is how many times stronger than the physical body? That 1,000.
Yeah.
The feeling that you have is increased by 1,000, and it's ever present within you once you work this way. Otherwise, you can do the breath work, you can have an experience, but remember that the experience is still observed by the highest. You want to be evolved,
to maintain it.
Evolved and involved with those body and spirit. And that only happens by true mastery over all of these elements. And this is why, obviously, through the course, we're going to be explaining deeper about things like this, but this is why the virtues are so necessary. One may never be able to perceive this until they've taken certain necessary actions, but your body is capable of true magnetic. This is why the word capabilities is capped abilities, and abilities is a by light. This is
what they're scared of, isn't it? They know that's why they've been poisoning us left, right, and center in every single.
I would say that's the nature of this game.
Right.
We must diligently choose to be separate from that and not fall for desires and previous experiences, and as we grow, live in the present moment.
That has to be there for the reason.
Otherwise, there'd be no purpose.
Because if we were all there already, it wouldn't be this duality. So it's actually the teachings of that. And I think with this energy that we were just talking about, we've got to be a little bit careful of the highs and the lows, because a lot of beings have said to us, I had a massive high and then I had a massive crash to pull me back, and it's really
to go back to me.
It's not nice to see, because it's like, this is why we say take the little steps. Please be aware that it can have a big crash on your family, your friends. Like, you don't want to go out there and go all in and be like this to your friends, because it can have a big effect on your life. And that we've seen a lot of beings that have had problems in that area of like having a big high and having to come back down. And
in our beginning stages, we used to try to help people on an individual basis, and we learned a lesson.
That was diligence for us.
Yeah, we were trying to help people that weren't ready, and they, it doesn't work out very well. They perceive too high.
It's not integrated, is it? They can't integrate it. And
it's too quick, too fast, too soon.
They perceive too high. And just while we were speaking about that, this is the nature of Babylon, And again, I say these things because I know it's going to help build the mind. But the Babylon is nothing bad. It's our experience to be able on. Cain, redshift, AL.
Cain, what, sorry?
Cain is redshift, Taurus, AL.
Say that, sorry, for some reason I can't hear.
That's right.
Cain and Abel, Cain
and Abel are parts of our mind, okay?
Yes.
Or we could say redshift Cain.
Yeah.
Blue shift Abel.
Yeah, got to balance.
What we're trying to do is to turn Abel, blue shift EL on. This is why Babylon is B, Abel on. And Abel is to enable ourselves. Abel, this is why Tauruses and bulls are connected, is B, A, double L. And this is the two L's of the Bible, okay? Then you know why there's a bull, and it's related to Taurus. And this is the AL and EL, the red shift and blue shift as it reciprocates. BU double L. It's telling you about the double L's that we're expressing in the work here. Do you want to pull that one up quickly?
This one?
Just there. This is the double L. So language itself is expressed this way. And then you get the bullseye at the center.
Wow. Bullseye. Hit the bullseye.
Of course. And everything.
I just wanted to show you when Josh says that then. This is the tarot card of virtue.
Nice.
So we've got the bullseye in the center here. And then these are like your higher chakras, your energy centers. And then you've got the cross in the center there that's balanced by the pole, the center.
The double sine wave. That's the very reason a cross is spelled cross, because it's CR vibrate void of the two S's.
And it's the same with the picture that we showed you last time. You've got your center pole here with the energies from the left and the right being pulled back and forth through magnetism. And climbing the ladder and the 8 and going up to the higher energy.
And quickly, I just want to show you one thing, because I know that people may enjoy the language at the end. We said cross is to see the full magnetic void of the two sine waves. Our mission was my double S.
Double S, yeah.
Progression, pro is 4, G, 7.
Yeah.
R is the full magnetic ether, double sine waves.
Right.
All progression leads you as the 7, the sun, the Taurus, the realm of the projected nature of all the colors, to rightfully establish the two sine waves, or the reciprocation of the ether two sine waves. And that's what it's all about. It all correlates to basic activating. Listen to the word activate. And 8 is also the shape of two S's integrated together. And that's what creates light. And light itself is spelled very similar to 8. It's just got the L instead of the E. And it's all connected.
It's incredible. It blows my mind. Absolutely mind blowing. Really, wow. Really fantastic. Thank you, guys. That is just a fantastic description of diligence. So I think for people listening, I would like to give you some homework, myself included. What area of your life are you going to be diligent in? Basically, what are you going to commit to doing in a diligent way? So what have you got information and notice about that you've been wanting to implement and integrate that you've been avoiding? What are you going to commit to doing? Maybe people could put in the comments what they're going to commit to doing. That would be really powerful. Pardon?
Plant some seeds.
Plant some seeds.
Get some free food this year. But
free food.
That's the key. Do you know better?
What do you mean? Oh, okay. Are you doing something and you know better that you shouldn't be doing it?
Do you know better? 'Cause
Wow, that is such a powerful question to ask yourself. So that's amazing. Do you know better?
do you know better? Then what we'll do is we'll put the question mark at the end, and the question is the quest I on. The quest I'm on. That's the question.
Wow. Wow.
And,
Wow. Wow. That's just such a simple, because I like to make things simple. And that is a way of making it really simple, isn't it? Asking yourself, you're about to do something. Do I know better? As in, is this the right thing for me to be doing? Do I know better?
If you do and you still do it, be prepared for demons to arise. And if you do action it, be prepared for them to fall and free you. The truth will set you free.
If with the demon side of things, though, all you need to do is observe that demon and say, that's happened. Dismiss that demon and move on.
But that's for higher levels
Let
of awareness. There's one thing to be able to observe the fact that
not go into the thought form and not connect to it and not beat yourself up.
Because that becomes then a sin again of guilt. And you won't be able, with the freeing of energy, the letting go of that energy and that guilt and that reasoning behind that is very important to move forwards and, making that magic happen. Make magic happen by the virtue system, really like put things into practice.
And quickly, one more time before we say goodbye, demon. A demon. What is mon? What does that mean? Do we know?
Monday.
One. So the monarch is monarch. The monster is one star. But if we say the demon, D is to remove. Mon is the one. Demons remove from one. Wow. And obviously Mon is the mother on. You can see the W is also correlated with the M. You got one, you can see all of these different ways that the letters have spelled themselves out, but demons remove you from one, which is presence, which is the greatest gift, which is now, and the only space that we can ever truly be, here and now. There is no past, it has passed, there is no future. If you can embrace and connect yourself to this very moment, there is no issue, there is only grace. Thing. There is no thing.
No thing, yeah, wow. Yeah. So on that note, we say to our audience, don't we, that we are we're not staying safe, we are staying present.
Yes.
The greatest gift.
In the present moment, you will always be safe. Because there is no harm.
Fantastic, brilliant. And as we said, we'll be breaking this down even further in the program. So we'll be going into why you need or how to be diligent in the different areas of your life to really help you understand how you can integrate and move forward with the gnosis and the knowledge and climb Jacob's ladder. And what is our next virtue, guys?
Michelle, would you like to say that?
I think temperance would be a nice one because this is the middle virtue now, isn't it? Temperance. So yeah, we're on number 4. So temperance is a nice one to come to the center with.
I don't even know what that means.
Temperance?
What does temperance mean?
Break down the word for us.
It's like abstinence. It's how you would stay balanced from any pull in either direction.
Stay in the heart space.
Yeah, okay. So you would have a temperance towards your food, and you would know what is necessary at that particular time. But as you grow in temperance, you'll see that if you live in the present moment, you can do as you wish because nothing truly matters.
Staying in balance, to be tempered.
Basically, yeah.
They all come down to that same kind of thing. It's just a slightly different way of approaching the virtue systems when we go through them. So they're all a similar. Abstinence really of
do you remember
overindulgence.
Do you remember that the aunts, we were saying the aunts, okay? It's just aunts, it's all to do with seance, how we say our answers. But in the word temper, we'll ignore this at the moment. It's the physical electromagnetic of each vibration.
Okay.
Each structural vibration. So it is the electromagnetic field at its highest point of energy, but in our physical nature is how we create balance to stay an electromagnetic reciprocating energy field.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So we will be back in 2 weeks on the 24th of May. So please put a note in your diary. 2 weeks time, 7 o'clock UK time, 8 p.m. in Spain or in Europe. Come join us. I've just posted the link around the virtues. As I said, we're going to be launching this program. There's a waiting list if you want to come join that. We'd love to have you with us. And obviously all the proceeds go to building this community and building the vision, which is obviously to live like this collectively, and to enable to integrate all the gnosis. And as you said, plant the trees.
Planting seeds in people, helping people heal, creating fruit forests, creating healing centers, and obviously creating these new platforms that once the available nature of this will be opening up to us, we have an ability to communicate, travel, to create our own systems away from
absolutely. Can't wait.
This is what we need to do. It all starts with us, and all we're doing is just giving this information here. And if you wish to support us, it's a way to support us. This is why we're sharing on the tube as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. So lovely for all of you to have all of you with us. Really appreciate and love all of you. Be diligent, be present, take one thing that you're going to be diligent about and then apply it. And we're looking forward to hearing how you get on in 2 weeks' time. And we will see you all on the 24th of May.